So my professional career began with one of the biggest, two of the biggest challenges of my life. I started my pro career, two situations involving the law.
Right.
And so I realized, okay, it's meant for me to go overseas. I wouldn't call it a loss at all.
Okay.
That would be making it about me.
Sure.
That's
big.
It's
That's
not
big.
about me. We were individuals. We understood we were individuals. We were on our own individual journeys and our individual paths. We were just doing it together. I would say first off, accept yourself for who you are at the stage that you are in your life. Be your authentic self. Be willing to learn, but be authentic. Be yourself.
Man, I'm just so excited today because I'm around a really, really good friend, Brandon Woods, who I'm gonna let him share a little bit about himself. But Brandon, I'm excited to have you on University Through Adversity. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's good because, we go through so many things in our journeys, especially as former athletes. And I just get excited because some of the stuff that you've already experienced, some of the stuff that you've been able to get through will probably be a testimony and information to help other people who are in a very similar place. But let's talk a little bit about your basketball career first, because I want to talk about what you are currently doing and a little bit of your history.
So started in Kokomo, Indiana. That's where I was born and raised. My parents come from families who are basketball fans.
Right.
So they put the ball in my hands relatively early. Fell in love with the game probably ever since then. So played all the way growing up. Once I got to high school, stopped playing other sports and just focused on basketball.
Right.
So that gave me a chance just to really lock in and really continue to grow that love for the game.
Sure.
As high school began, I started getting college looks and college offers. So it came time to make that decision. Came down between Southern Illinois' Carbondale and Butler University.
Butler.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I was actually planning on committing to Butler, but they had offered a scholarship to me and one other player. And I had a visit scheduled at SIU the next weekend, so I'm a loyal guy.
Sure.
I felt like, SIU was recruiting me heavy and, showed a lot of love
Right.
at the time. So I wanted to wait and go to that visit the following weekend. Halfway through that next week, Butler called me. Actually, it was Coach Brad Stevens.
Okay.
He was he was probably like the last assistant coach at the time.
Sure,
So Brad
sure.
Stevens used to come to Kokomo, used to come to my high school, get me out of class.
So he used to come and just spend time with you, which is super important.
Yeah, that was like early in his coaching career,
Right,
So he used to
right.
come to our practices, come get me out of class, and just kind of, start to build a relationship with me. So he called me and let me know that the other player took the scholarship. So 3 days later, I went on a visit to SIU, and visit went smooth. Ended up committing there.
Good for you.
And that's how I started my college career.
Okay.
So played my freshman year at SIU, medical redshirted there, so didn't really play that season.
And I want to ask a question because I hate to interrupt you.
No,
but
feel free to cut me off whenever, because I can keep going.
I just, in my mind, because you said you medical redshirted. Talk a little bit about that for a second, because I want, especially players who are going through that process, what happened so we can really wrap our mind around it.
So it kind of began like my senior year of high school. So I dislocated my shoulder my senior year of high school 3 times. So I ended up getting surgery after my senior season. So going into my freshman year of college, I didn't get a chance to do none of the workouts. So none of the weight sessions, none of the basketball sessions.
Gotcha.
So I didn't get to start my freshman year until like the fall, winter began, till actually practice started.
Wow.
So I think my body just wasn't prepared for that, the intensity of that level, especially playing at SIU under Coach Chris Lowry, who was very, very intense.
Oh, big time, big time.
So
we're talking about guys who are still in the game right now. So and I don't think a lot of people understand the level of intensity that head coaches and assistant coaches have at the college level. But it's it's all the time, every day, no sleep, like you just grinding because you really putting your future in a young person's hands, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, times have changed now to where back then when I was a freshman in college and even like the years following that, you know, that was when coaches could coach in a much more aggressive style, you know. And I think Coach Lowry, even at this point, would admit that he kind of took it overboard in a lot of cases, you know, with a lot of different players. So my body physically wasn't ready, you know, so I ended up having a stress fracture in my leg. I was playing on it, you know, they didn't believe that something was wrong, and I'm like, you know, my leg's hurting, you know, so then I ended up getting an x-ray and they showed a stress fracture in my leg. So that was like 6 games into the season. I had just had 15 points against Northern Illinois, so I was set up to have a good freshman year, but I think my body just wasn't prepared because I didn't have that freshman summer.
You know, it's so interesting because you always have to be prepared, not just mentally, but physically as well. And you know, that's part of it. I want to ask this question because, so first, how old are you?
I'm 35.
35. And so as you know, I'm an OG. And I you know, my journey is a little bit different, but I really want people to understand, like, you also have to be getting physically prepared for what you're getting ready to do. And so let's move from your time in the college level, and then where did you go after that? That's what I want to go back to.
So after SIU, you know, at that point, you know, consider I hadn't played that season, considering the environment, atmosphere I was in, you know, just with the style of coaching that Coach Lowry coached at that point, I completely lost the love for the game, no confidence. So I remember vividly calling my father and telling him, you know, I really don't want to hoop no more. You know, maybe I'll come back home to Indiana and play at a smaller school, you know, just to get my education. But, you know, I really had no aspirations to continue to pursue a higher level. So one of my friends, Lamar Lee, at the time, he was transferring from a Division I, II.
And where was he playing at?
He was at, where was that? Indiana State, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, he was at Indiana State.
Which is a big time school.
Yeah,
I mean, that's where Larry Bird went, so I'm very familiar.
Yeah, we were in the same conference, you know, so it was the Missouri Valley. So he transferred from there. He got word that I was transferring from SIU, and Lamar called me, you know, like, you know, I got this good situation here at Highland, you know, Coach Pete Norman, you know, it's gonna be full scholarship, you know, meals taken care of, housing taken care of. It's gonna be real comfortable, you know. So come here with me, you know, and let's see where this stop takes us, you know. So it was, you know, definitely shout out to Lamar for, you know, kind of throwing that lob to me. And
that's big. That's,
yeah,
that's love.
It was. Yeah,
that's love.
Yeah.
So you ended up playing.
I played the whole season at my JUCO. And we were it's funny, we were just talking about Coach Bryce Drew and Coach Homer Drew. You know, before my JUCO season even began, they had got word, they were recruiting me out of high school a little bit. So after they heard I was transferring from SIU, they got word of that. So they started coming, they came to like my first practice at my JUCO, you know, and I kind of, you know, at that point, you know, it was just a spirit that they had, you know, I could just, the eye contact that they had with me. Just how much, and it just gives me chills right now. You know, just the care that I felt, and they had no idea who I was. I had no idea who they was. You know, and then that combined with the history of Valpo, you know, their family history at Valpo, and then, you know, the non-conference schedule that we had next year.
It was big.
Man, we played at Michigan State. We played at North Carolina. We had a tournament in Vegas, you know, so the non-conference schedule was very, very attractive, you know, so.
Well, and that's part of, especially if you have aspirations of going to the next level, that non-conference was a big deal because there were going to be people there to watch.
So I ended up committing to Valpo before my JUCO season even began, you know, which is rare. You know, a lot of players go to JUCO to get seen by other schools. You know, for me, in my situation, I just felt like that was the right place to go. You know, back in Indiana, like I said, family aspect with the Drews, the non-conference schedule. So I'm like, you know, let me commit before the season even starts, so I can, start gaining that confidence back, start gaining that love for the game back.
Yeah,
Not have to think about where I'm going next. I can already seal that deal and just hoop, you know what I'm saying?
Well, and the thing that I love, and there's two things that you said that really resonate. I mean, first, the relationship, right? And obviously, you had a really good relationship with Coach Drew. And FYI, for those who are tuning in, Coach Drew is the head coach at Grand Canyon University right now, so you can know what he's currently doing.
Coach Bryce. So
Yes.
Homer was the head coach at Valpo. Bryce was the assistant coach.
Was assistant.
Yeah, so Homer was still the head coach. So Homer was like on his way to retire from coaching. So Bryce was pretty much running the practices, running the team,
So
but
you built a relationship with Bryce.
they both came. I can see them standing right here, Bryce, Homer, just the eye contact, man, and just the like I said, the spirit and the energy that they had, it really touched my soul, especially, I'm a biracial kid, but, I kind of grew up, understand that I'm a black man,
No
so
question.
so to have two white men, showing that love, showing that care, and just that eye contact,
embracing you.
yeah, embraced me
Embracing
from
you.
the jump and didn't know me
That's big,
from
man.
didn't know me from scratch, that
There you go.
that
There
touched
you go.
me. You know what I'm saying?
I already know, and
Yeah.
I can tell you get excited because people don't understand how important it is to have strong relationships in so many ways, and so you got to be careful how you move. So I want to shift from your athletic career and talk about your professional career, and then some of the challenges that you face during your professional career.
So my professional career began with two of the biggest challenges of my life. So I was, like I mentioned the other day, I left school, early. I was working on my master's.
Sure.
So I was only in online classes and I had finished that, so I told Coach Izzo, after we finish in the NCAA tournament, no matter how far we go, I'm not going to really come back to campus. I'm going to just go to Chicago and, be with my agent. My agent, set me up in a house,
Sure.
had me with a chef, had me with my trainers, so just preparing me for the
Sure,
draft.
sure.
So about a month before the draft, I ended up getting arrested, so I got arrested and pretty much lost all my NBA workouts.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah, it
because
is.
you only get those. You're lucky if you get them. Is the truth.
So
Wow.
that experience combined with an experience back home in my hometown, to where I was hanging out with my two brothers one night. My brother got into a situation where he ended up shooting someone. So I got pulled and tied into that situation, with some bad intentions behind
Sure.
it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So at the time, I was experiencing two situations that could have derailed my life and my career.
Well, could it change your narrative? And I want to take a moment just to really pour in, especially to those who are tuning in, especially in the black community. We really need to start loving on each other, start supporting each other, and stop hating on each other. Because at the end of the day, we've already faced so many challenges that we really need to figure out how can we help build one another. So I'm just giving that out to anybody who's tuning into the show, because I really want you to feel where I'm going with this. But keep going.
I mean, and to kind of add to that, a lot of people, do jump on occasion to, kind of demean someone and kind of
Absolutely.
take away from someone and kind of box someone in,
No question.
But just my spirit and how I'm built, I understood the situation. I knew what it was. My family and my brothers my brother knew what it was. So for me, I just faced it head on. It didn't stop anything. I continued to flow forward. Later down the line, you reflect back and continue to take away the lessons that you were meant to learn.
Sure.
But I learned lessons from them times and move forward and, continue to stand 10 toes down and have my chest out and be the man that I was.
Man, and the thing that I love about that is sometimes when we face challenges or adversity, we don't face up and we don't address it and we try to run from it. But the reality is, if you made the mistake or if something happened or you got in a bad situation or whatever, take it for what it is. I love what you said. learn the lesson. Learn the lesson. And then when you learn the lesson, then you got a chance to put your toes down and continue to move forward. Because if you don't learn the lesson, it's going to sound crazy. It's going to show up again and again and again. So learn the lesson, man.
Yeah. So that's how I started my pro career. You know, two situations involving the law.
Right.
And so I realized, okay, it's meant for me to go overseas. You know what I'm saying? But kind of to add a little bit to those situations, how I move forward and the day after those situations, like I remember, specifically the situation in Chicago, which is a little more well known.
Yeah.
I remember getting arrested, and then my agent bonded me out the next day. The next hour or two, I'm in the gym with my trainer.
Right.
So it was like it didn't stop nothing. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I was moving naively, but it was like, for some reason, my spirit was just always above everything that I've been involved with. I've definitely been guided, and protected.
Well, and I want to say this, and again, I appreciate that you're so open and honest about what we're talking about. But on the other side of that, there are young men who are, going through a similar path that we went through, who don't have those type of support systems. They don't have those resources. They don't have access to lawyers. They don't have none of that stuff. And then, I hate to say this, they get caught up in the system and then they stuck. And then they don't know how to get out of it because they don't have mentors pouring into them. Let's talk a little bit about the mentoring piece that you had in your own journey.
Man, it started with my parents, just the space that they raised my sister and us in. They would be the first ones to admit that, none of our parents are perfect. They're learning along the way too.
Absolutely. They've never been in that position before.
Yeah. They have a whole life that they're experiencing and coming from as well. So, but what my parents provided for us was love, and affection, and just a safe space to express ourselves.
That's big.
Yeah, one thing that I kind of lean on, and I know that was a big part of my journey. When I was young, I used to hate losing.
Right.
But one thing that my parents allowed me to do was cry after I lost.
Sure.
They didn't tell me, be tough, don't cry, what you crying for? Don't be a man, toughen up. It was none of that.
Right.
It was all them consoling me, and holding me and telling me it's okay and letting me cry through it and just get through it, So just a space that they have for me just to express myself, that's why I'm in full expression now.
Yeah.
So, and comfortable with it, and I've always been comfortable sharing my feelings and my emotions, whether it's, my JUCO coach, Pete Norman, because I had a situation at my JUCO where I got arrested too.
Right.
But being able to share how I feel with him, and then going to Valpo, being able to share and express myself to Coach Homer and Coach Bryce, more so Coach Homer at the time.
Right.
And then going to Michigan State and being able to share how I feel and my emotions and deep family situations with Coach Izzo, and him just having that space of listening to me. So I've always maybe like it could be considered over trusted people.
Sure.
And overshared, but I've had the right people to have that space for me to listen, and to not judge me, and like to have that safe space, So I'm just grateful to have people that have been in my life that are good listeners.
Yeah.
It's allowed me to develop into a great listener. So I'm just that's kind of how my life was based, just the mentorship that my parents had.
Yes.
The space that they have for my sister and I, and then just having coaches throughout the years that had that same space.
Well, and I want to just add to what you're saying because, first, obviously your parents raised an unbelievable person. We're excited that you're on the show.
Appreciate it.
But not only that, you were open enough to just be vulnerable, which people don't want to talk about, with how you were truly feeling with all of your college coaches. And people don't realize college coaches are very influential, especially in the player's life, especially at the high school level. So it goes from high school to college, and then if you get the opportunity to play at the next level, even at the pro level. So you know, I just believe some of the stuff that you're talking about will help people who are tuning into the show to really realize you got to make sure you got the right people in your journey that are going to be able to listen, give feedback, or just be quiet and not say anything.
But sometimes you don't know if they're the right people.
Right.
You know, so it's even having the security within yourself, or even naively just being vulnerable to, you know, I've shared and been vulnerable with people where they didn't have my best interest, you know, where they might have held it against me, or it wasn't a safe space, or it wasn't received how I needed it to be received at the same time, you know, but even in those moments, I wouldn't change that at all.
Right.
And I would encourage people to be willing to learn those tough lessons of oversharing, you know, because then you'll be able to find that balance of like, okay, this person's in my corner, this person's not.
I love that.
You know, so it's like, it comes with the balance, you know, so I've definitely experienced both sides, but I'm proud of myself for quote unquote oversharing and learning some tough lessons, and learning the dynamics of some relationships work in my best interest. So I would encourage people to just be open, share, be vulnerable, be transparent, and be open and willing to learn some tough lessons through that too.
Man, well, again, first and foremost, I appreciate that you are a guest on the show. I know we've had other conversations about other things, so I'm gonna let you kind of open up if you feel comfortable talking about it, or you can share what you want to give to the audience as a takeaway. But I do want to challenge you, because I know you went through some other things that were pretty challenging for you during your professional career.
I mean, I got time, so I mean, unless you got somewhere to go, like I'm here.
Well then let's dive into it, because one of the things that I think is important, especially in relationships, as you build relationship with other people, is learning how to not just be open and loving, but then also be passionate about what you're doing. And unfortunately, that you had a situation that I really want you to open up and talk about if you're comfortable.
Which one?
Let's talk about you know, you losing your person that you loved.
First off, I wouldn't call it a loss at all.
Okay.
You know, that would be making it about me.
Sure.
You know,
that's big.
It's not about me. You know, we were individuals. We understood we were individuals. We were on our own individual journeys and our individual paths. We were just doing it together.
Okay.
You know, so that combined with just the time that we spent together, the quality time, you know, by ourselves, you know, traveling the world, being in other countries, you know, not where we're the only ones that speak English, you know, spending that quality time, and, you know, going through the tough times of, you know, her giving me space to develop as a man, me giving her space to develop as a woman.
Right.
You know, like I said, it wasn't all gravy and smooth, you know, but it was a relationship where it was like, you know, we're just gonna go through everything together. And you know, if it takes an hour or a day or two of us not communicating to where we usually do, like let's just flow forward, you know. So we were in a great place, you know, like I said, physically traveling the world, meeting people. Both of us were in our purpose. You know, I was being an athlete and serving in the communities. She was a caregiver, you know, so we kind of both had that in common, to where like, even as I think about it, like, you know, just with my heart and my spirit and how I moved and served, it's like, man, I was a caregiver too, you know, just giving all my care, you know, so we were very different in a lot of ways, you know, but what we had that was similar was our heart, you know, and our love for people, and just our space that we hold for people. You know, we were able to touch a lot of lives together. Like I said, we served together. We had our own spiritual journey together that we made our own, you know. We didn't think that we had to live up to any society standards or, you know, do it any certain type of way. We did it our way, you know, and we stood on that, and we enjoyed it. You know, we had fun, you know, so we were in a special place to where, and one thing that, you know, I know some people kind of live by this or not, you know, we kind of live by everything happens for a reason. Right. You know, not everybody is able to, you know, understand that. You know, I think if they maybe went a little deeper and had a little more empathy, maybe they would.
That's big.
But we were able to put reasoning behind everything we went through, you know, whether it was as individuals or as one, you know. So, you know, after this experience of her transitioning, you know, you don't know until you experience that how it's going to be.
Sure.
But physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, we were already preparing for that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
for us as individuals.
Sure.
You know, we were so intentional with our approach, with our routines. You know, with our regimen and just how we've kind of put our daily lifestyle together to where, you know, we were preparing for those moments. You know, so I was fully prepared as I could be. You know, so for me, it's just been, you know, understanding other people's space that they're in relationship to her transitioning, and me just being empathetic towards that, and just having space for our families to, you know, to heal through that journey, you know, because it hasn't been the same experience as myself.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
so for me, it's just been meeting our family and meeting other people where they're at, you know, and also just standing on how I feel, you know, and my experience, you know, which is different than pretty much any and everybody that I've encountered to this point, you know. So I understand, like, it's poured into my purpose and to my meaning and her meaning and our meaning. So, you know, I'm just looking forward to continue to share this at higher levels, and just, you know, show that, you know, grief isn't always what everybody says it is.
Sure, sure. Well, I you know, two things that really resonate and that you really hit on that, you know, touch me as well is, you know, there's always purpose in everything. And you've always carried that spirit. Ever since I've known you, you've been very poised. You don't get shaken, and you realize that some things we can't control, and sometimes there's lessons that need to be learned through that process. And so, you know, I just got a lot of love for you, and I appreciate you being open and talking about that, because, you know, we all go through challenges. Like, it happens to everybody, and sometimes, you know, we don't really see it as a challenge until you face it. Until you're in it, you don't even know that you're going to go through that process. And so I do want to take a moment, because I want to spend some time to talk about your, you know, things that you would have the next generation stand on. Like, I really want you to share your thoughts, because, you know, you played at every level. You created you really have history creating the transfer portal, you know, transferring up into a higher level. And if you don't know, B Woods could flat out, he could score. That's all I'm gonna say.
I was about to correct you. Score.
Yeah. But he could get buckets is what I'm trying to say. I got a little bit of that dog in me, so you can feel what I'm saying. Like, he can play. But my point is, like, I really want you to talk about what can you pour into the next generation of leaders, so you can give them some insight so they can be a better version of themselves.
I would say, first off, you know, accept yourself for who you are at the stage that you are in your life. You know, be your authentic self. You know, be willing to learn, but be authentic, be yourself. And what's helped me, you know, is just I've had so many experiences and different moments to where, like, it's kept me in the moment.
Right.
You know, so as I've gotten older, you realize the importance of staying in the moment and remaining in the moment, and just the spirit that is in the moment. You know, that's the only place. That's really the only place to be.
Yep.
So especially to the younger guys, you know, I wasn't taught that when I was younger.
Sure.
Nobody ever shared that with me. You know, but my experience always kept me in the moment.
Right.
You know, so a lot of my experience has been like naively being cultivated and nourished. Whether it's by my family or myself or the spirit, and then kind of on the back end realizing like damn, like now I'm just confirming my experience, you know. So especially to the younger guys, I say, you know, just be yourself, do all you can to stay in the moment, you know. Don't you know, cling to the past, you know, don't resist, you know, anything that you've been through. That's, you know, just accept yourself, you know, surrender to yourself. you know, and do what you love, you know, as early as you can, you know, try to find your purpose. You know, I've been in my purpose. You know, my purpose extends to before I even came out the womb.
Gotcha.
You know, and I can expand on that if you would like. You know, I'll allow you to question that, but
Sure.
you know, just find your purpose as early as you can. You know, serve and help people. You know, take every opportunity that you can to help someone, whether it's, you know, picking up a piece of trash for this lady who just walked past, or, you know, considering what you can do for your community, or,
Man.
you know, or what you can do to help your family. You know, just try to help people every chance that you can. So, you know, be yourself, be in the moment, find your purpose, serve, you know, and again, stay in the moment.
Well, you know, obviously what you just shared is a mic drop moment, to be honest. And I think that the next generation of people who are coming through, he's giving you really the blueprint of how you can have success. Don't trip. Like, I want to continue the conversation, but we got other things we got to do, so we're not going to do it right now. But I will say, we're going to circle back with you and have you as a guest a little bit later, especially after you come back from going to China to play. And I'll let you talk about that, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, I actually haven't announced it yet, so I guess that's the announcement.
It's in the universe.
Yeah, so definitely excited for that. I should be leaving in the next couple weeks. I'm just waiting to get my visa. So, you know, I've played all over the world. You know, I've lived all over the world. I've made a living all over the world.
Right.
I've built my network all over the world. You know, I'm connected to amazing people in probably 30, 40 plus countries. So what's really exciting about this opportunity is, you know, after I go to China, you know, that'll be my first time playing and living in an Asian country.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
with that being the case, after I go there, I'll be able to say I've lived and played and made a living in every continent.
Which is big.
Except Antarctica, you know, which is,
Sure.
I don't think it's possible.
They got to get a league over there.
I don't think it's possible, but, you know, so for me, you know, someone who's had so many amazing experiences, you know, it's kind of rare. You know, there's a lot of things I haven't done, you know, but to do a first, you know, something that's a first.
Big. It's big.
You know, I'm excited to go to China, you know, my first Asian country. And, you know, over the last week, I've really been just reflecting on the fact that, you know, I don't know anyone that can say that they've lived and played professionally in every continent in the world.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal.
You know, so that in itself is and will be a great part of my testimony.
That's great.
So I'm excited for that, you know, and it's kind of like a full circle moment, you know, as far as that, and, you know, some things in my personal life, and just some things in my business life, you know. So I'm in just a amazing space, you know, and I'm in the moment, you know, and just you know, just very, very blissful.
No, that's good, man. Well, and you know, I just think you know, the stuff that you're doing and the impact that you're having, and the thing that you share with the next generation of leaders is invaluable, man. I appreciate you at a high level, and then obviously, you know, I played in Taipei, Taiwan, and one of the things I'm gonna tell you is smile. Is the more you smile, the body language will tell everything. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
I'm gonna keep it on the front of my face.
But yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in to University Through Adversity. We are excited and honored to have Brandon Woods share his testimony and a little bit of his story.
Thank you.